Hey, stick around because in the 10 o'clock hour, we have an interview that is out of this world.
Yes, our very own Marisol Castro sitting down with a real-life rocket scientist, Olympia LePoint, on how her new book is helping people overcome fear.
Rocket scientist.
I mean, you know, sometimes we joke with each other and you say, come on, figure that out. It's not rocket science. Well, it turns out the person coming on our show today, for her it is, because she is a rocket scientist.
Wow.
Her name is Olympia LePoint. She is all things math. I mean, look at that. That's all I can say. She is a real life hidden figure, the character from Hidden Figure. Yeah, she's launched 28 missions to space as part of NASA. Guys, I only bring my A game.
That is awesome.
To you folks. And by the way, she's gorgeous. Not that matters, but I'm turning into Miriam because, you know, oh, she's so pretty. But, Mommy, she's a rocket scientist. I know, but she's so pretty.
And on point fashion-wise. I mean, this woman's brain, she's got it all covered.
Olympia LePoint's coming up.
And, oh, gee, what are you talking about?
10:22, everybody. Still to come. We are continuing to get answers with our next guest, rocket scientist. Olympia LePoint.
Yeah. Just a rocket scientist on the show, that's all. And her latest book, Answers Unleashed, dives into the science of attracting what you want. She's sharing how to make better decisions in our everyday lives. Boy, I could use this. That's coming up next.
Well, get ready to have your mind blown, because this morning we are talking to a real-life rocket scientist. Olympia LePoint helped launch 28 space shuttle missions while working with NASA. She has a degree in mathematics, a master's in applied mathematics. She's an author, a TED talker, and investigates, among other topics, overcoming the fear of math. She has a new scientific theory, because I guess that's what you do in your spare time, on human decision making, and she details that in her latest book, Answers Unleashed, Volume 2, The Science of Attracting What You Want. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the morning show author and rocket scientist, Olympia LePoint. Thank you for joining us this morning. It is a pleasure to meet you. I wish I could just peel back that scalp and investigate what's going on in there. You started this journey when you were 6 years old. How on earth?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me on your show. It all began when I was 6 years old. I went to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, where I saw these beautiful jet engines and the mission controlled. And it was there where I told myself I want to be just like the men that I saw on the wall in the picture that was launching rockets. And that was actually the start of my decision-making process of actually moving forward to the future that I wanted, that I talk about in my latest book.
But when you're 6, do you even have the wisdom to know that this is going to involve math? Did you like math at a time?
Well, it was interesting because when I was young, I didn't realize the challenges I was going to face as a woman of color going through this process of eventually launching rockets. I didn't understand that mathematics and understanding mathematics was going to be needed. I didn't understand or know that the challenges I was going to face with educating people on diversity. And I didn't understand necessarily at the time that my decisions counted, the way that I thought counted. And in my entire life, I had to go through this journey figuring out how to reprogram my mind from the fears that I experienced before, and how I could actually move forward towards what I wanted. And throughout all of my journey, I just decided I'm going to write about what I learned. In my first book, Mathophobia, I learned how to overcome my fear of mathematics. And so in my first book, Mathophobia, I write about how I had to reformat and change the way that I was thinking about numbers, which allowed me to see that fear has certain names, and I name them.
And then that sort of disarms them. You clearly understand a lot now, because in your journey, you worked on shuttle launches when you worked at NASA. You're like the real life hidden figures. How did you make that jump of math phobia to NASA and being a part of the team that worked with space?
That is such a great story. Originally, I graduated from California State University, Northridge in mathematics, and one of my friends from the math class was working at the Boeing company at the time, and I asked him about what he was doing there, and he said he was using math. And I'm like, oh, the ability to use math on real life situations and not just a book, I'm in. Tell me how to do it. And so I went went to the company and I first started in, it was more like accounting type of work, but I found my niche because they were my role, because there was only 2 people at the company who could do the type of mathematics in which I did, in which was reliability, system safety, statistician type of work. And that was calculating the probability of catastrophic explosions within launch and preventing them.
Oh,
and
is
so
that all?
So I worked with some great mentors there, and I eventually got to a level and level where I was sitting and supporting in mission control. And that was one of the most brilliant experiences I think I've ever had, knowing that I'm helping keep people safe at the time when I was launching rockets, keeping people's lives safe during space launches. And that is very meaningful to me.
It's really so remarkable what you do. And when you wake up in the morning, what thoughts are floating around in your brain? Because that alarm goes off and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to have a cup of coffee. Do you see like numbers in your head? Are you like little man Tate? Is this just like everything slows down and you just have algorithms?
Well, do you know what? People will ask me that question. The answer is no. I probably never see numbers in my head. I see patterns.
Oh.
I see what's from what I've seen happen before, what more than likely is going to happen again. And in studying the sciences and technology, engineering, mathematics, I actually can see patterns before they happen. It's kind of like I learned to be able to see the future before it happens. And so I write about that in my latest book, is how to actually start seeing these patterns and start making the decisions so you have the patterns work in your favor.
And of this, you're talking about quantum deciding, yes?
Yes, yes. Quantum deciding is what I talk about in my latest book, Answers Unleashed 2. And it's 6 basic decisions that everyone can make on a daily basis for the future that they want. This quantum deciding is making decisions on faith, making decisions on your identity, making decisions on, for example, how you use your resources, how you learn, and your relationships and your intent. And so when we make decisions, waking up every single morning, noticing the patterns, and I never look at like numbers per se on a daily basis, but look at the patterns and look at how are my decisions falling in line with the pattern of what I want.
Right.
Then that unlocks the door for us to actually create the future that we want. And that's what I did in my life.
Olympia, what was more frightening, working in NASA and making sure that no one died going up into space, or giving a TED Talk?
Oh my gosh, such a question, such a question. Do you know what? Both were nerve-wracking. Both were nerve-wracking.
All right.
But in the TED Talk, I thought to myself, I'm not going to care what people think. I'm just going to share the information that I learned. And I'm really going to just make sure that I'm given this opportunity, and I'm going to share knowledge so people can succeed. And so that was my thinking.
I love it. Thank you so much, Olympia LePoint. I'm flabbergasted at all the stuff that you do. Thank you so much. Continued success. And if you want to check out her book, just head over to the link listed right on the screen. Take care. Thank you. Keep seeing patterns. Come visit us in New York. Share some of your brain, please. I'd like to, right there.
Aw. If I could give you a hug, I could.
I know, I would too. Thanks so much.
Wow, she dropped some serious knowledge there. I mean, quantum decisions, right? I want to learn more about this, because it's fascinating how you can, it's true, because a lot of people talk about patterns in life, right? And sometimes we think, oh, that was a coincidence, and then that happened to happen. But I guess if you study it, maybe you can direct your future.
Math and science are everywhere, whether you like it or not.
She's unbelievable.
I wish my brain worked like that.
My gosh, my brain wakes up when I wake up in the morning, I don't even know what I'm thinking about.
I can't even remember my dreams.
Yeah.
Let alone a pattern.
I'm like, what pocket square goes with my tie? And she's like, launching rockets. Okay. Thank you, Marisol. That was great. From rocket science to rocket fuel.